Hey, what is up, guys? It is Slikk, or Slikk Mafia, back again with another video, here to provide you my thoughts on the Injustice 2 beta. Today we're going to be talking about the characters, the gear system, some of my concerns with the game, and what I really love about the game. First of all, the beta is amazing. It's a lot of fun. I think that only like a few thousand people have it at this point, because I ran a poll the other day on my Twitter of like 400 people. I think like 4% said they have the beta. I think it's a very small, so it's definitely a closed beta, which surprised me. I don't have my code yet. A subscriber, Kilo, was gracious enough to give me his, and that's the only reason I'm playing the game right now. And I didn't play the game yesterday. I did when it came out, and today's the third day of the beta, which will be lasting a month. They'll add some characters. I would personally like to see Poison Ivy, Robin, and maybe... trying to think who else has been announced that we'd like to. Blue Beetle. We'll throw a Blue Beetle. That's how I'd like to see. That's 3 characters. You don't want to oversaturate it. We don't want to play with the full character roster in the beta. Save some fun for the end. And overall, I'm really satisfied with the character roster in the game before I get into the beta thoughts in particular. One thing I will say, the only character I'm disappointed with is Bane. I didn't really think that he needed to be in the game. That's just a minor nitpick. Overall, you know, Poison Ivy I think is a very good addition to the game. Robin, Damian Wayne, I mean, really, really cool stuff. That's what I really wanted in the first game, was a Robin. We did get Nightwing, which is cool. But yeah, overall, really happy with the player list, the character list rather, and I think they're going to try to go, Ed Boon said in the live stream, he's going to try to go deeper into the depths of the DC universe, so that gives me hope for Starfire, Beast Boy, characters like that to see in the future, Red Hood, but they've kind of got a lot on the Batman characters already, you know, Bane, who I think is, again, a largely unnecessary character. I would rather see Bane replaced with, like, Red Hood, for instance, or maybe even, well, you can't really do Red Robin, because you already have Tim Drake Robin, but you already have Damian. You know, I think there's a whole different direction they could have gone there, but that's okay. We'll probably still see Red Hood, in my opinion. So let's talk about the beta in particular. The gameplay is just amazing. I mean, it's very fun. It's a fun game. It's addicting, just like the first game. I want to play it right now. I can't wait to record the gameplay you're going to see over the background of this video. And by the way, in the comments of my live stream, people were saying, like, I was being cocky. Just to be clear, I was definitely joking. I know I'm very bad at fighting games. In just 2 minutes and 17 seconds of you watching this video, you can probably see that in the background. And that sort of plays into some of my comments. You know, I was sort of joking. People, I think, got, like, sort of taken aback. And they're like, you're acting different in this video, sort of thing. I understand that. I was sort of being weird. But yeah, I was saying things like, you know, I'm the best in the game. Definitely joking. Definitely a joke. So I apologize. Some people didn't read that sort of thing. Anyway, the beta is very fun. What I wanted to do was main Supergirl. So let's talk about the characters. I think that Supergirl is kind of like mediocre at everything. Again, I might be bad at her, which I probably am. I'm probably just bad at the game in general. But I did notice that, like, I found that, like, yes, you can zone, not exceedingly well. Her laser beams are pretty OP. I love just beating people with them. And that's one thing people were complaining about as well, is that I was being spammy, I guess, or, you know, just zoning people too much. And, you know, she's good at that, though, kind of, but even when you try to get up close, she has some very odd abilities. And the thing about, like, her super moves, this is one of the things I noticed about the game, is that they did nerf the super moves in this game, for sure. I mean, I can just tell right away. The way they did that is not in the damage, but actually in landing the supers, okay? So, take, for instance, Batman as a prime example of this. Batman in Injustice 1, his super move... he had this Batarang, and he would throw it at you, and it would lock onto you automatically. You don't have to do anything besides press L2, R2, and it would just hit you. Unless you time a jump really well, you're going down. You're gonna get hit, and this Batarang, you know, Batmobile is gonna fly through Arkham Asylum, through the wall, and, you know, mess you up, basically. In this game, he does, like, this little bear hug jump at you, and it's, like 4 feet. Like, I mean, it's so easy to block. And you've got to be really close to somebody. Supergirl's super move, you literally have to be right next to him. Literally. I mean, like, and you probably have to hit him in the air because she goes straight up at like a 45, maybe 60-degree angle. So it's really hard to hit. It's so easy to block. Atrocitus, he pulls this, like, sword blade thing out of his right arm, and he stabs you with it. You've got to be right there. You've got to be right next to him. Superman's ult, you can still sort of reach pretty far. Superman is probably the best character in the beta. It's really interesting, though. I mean, they definitely, I think, toned down the super moves in the game. It's harder to land them, I've noticed. That's something, I could be wrong. That's just maybe out of these 4 characters. But that's really cool. You know, to see it, it's one of those things. I don't know how to meter burn, sort of going full circle into the fact that I'm bad. So I'm not happy about that. I always like the super moves. I don't like meter burning. Well, again, I don't know how, but even if I did, I don't really. I like the idea of, although Supergirl's meter burn is really cool. She does the thing like when she kills Red Tornado in the Supergirl show. She gets super intense, which is kind of cool. But no, let's talk about the gear system for a little bit. Okay, actually, let's rank the characters in order. Supergirl is kind of mediocre. I think she's the weakest character in the beta. Superman is number 1. Batman's pretty strong, number 2. Atrocitus is number 3. He can juggle you really well, but I think that he's still, like, I don't know. I think he's good, but not, like, amazing. I think all the characters are relatively well-balanced. Supergirl's annoying to play against, so they're never gonna, like, buff her, but at the same point, she's not really all that like amazing. Like her cousin Superman can definitely beat her up pretty good if you're playing. But it throws a whole nother balance into the equation of the gear system, right? Because I know for a fact when I played the game 2 days ago, I was beating people that were better than me. Purely because I had better gear, and I had been playing the beta for an hour, and I had these Supergirl things that gave me like 25 extra ability power and stuff. And these people that knew all these combos as Batman and Superman, I could tell from the first game, and they were juggling me really well. I would just get out of it, laser beam them once, and just take down a quarter of their health because they didn't have any defense stuff. So, I mean, that might be a concern for some people in the game. Like, you're going to get beat by people that you wouldn't normally, that are not better than you at the game because they play more and they have better gear and stuff like that. And then if they introduce a system where you can buy gear, that's even more problematic. You know, little Johnny over there stealing his mom's credit card. The gear substantially affects the game. I've noticed that. I mean, it's like playing a totally different character. Like Supergirl, I have like 7 or 8 gear pieces. None of them all that amazing. I think one of them's like epic or legendary. And I noticed substantially doing more damage and just overall just being better. So that playlist where the gear doesn't affect anything, just the aesthetic, I think that's something that might be kind of popular for like really good players. For me, somebody that's bad, that means that I can just play a lot and get better gear than you and beat people that are better than me. So I'm happy with that, I suppose. I don't know. So the gear system sort of throws a quirk in at the balance of the game, maybe. We'll have to see how it turns out. I don't know. It might be a concern in the long term, especially if, like, you're just starting out. Like, the game's been out for 6 months. You have nothing. But I imagine they're going to match you against people with a similar amount of gear as you, so it's sort of fair. Anyway, let's talk about the gear system more in depth. And that's something I did want to bring up, is the potential imbalance. The thing about it is, though, it's really easy to get gear for the character you want. What I've noticed is that when you play as a character, like let's say I'm playing as Batman, I get more gear when I play as Batman. I'm more likely to get a gear, but not necessarily. Just because you play a game as Batman doesn't mean you're going to get a Batman gear piece. It could be any of the characters. So when we get the game on launch, it's a 28 character roster. It might take a while to actually get a full gear set that's decent for one character. You've really got to grind the game out to get that. Whereas in the beta, it's like a 1 in 4 chance I'm going to get a Supergirl gear piece. So if I want to max out Supergirl, it's like a 1 in 4 chance, whereas otherwise it'd be like, you know, roughly 1 in 28. Again, you have a bigger chance of getting the gear piece for that character that you just played as in the match before. The gear, the characters play very much so, Batman and Superman, they play a lot like they did in the last game, but with a lot of cool, to make them feel fresh, like innovations and stuff like that, new abilities. Batman has this really cool ability that's kind of like Batgirl's ult in Injustice 1, but not a super move, where you grab somebody, bat claw them up, I guess, or like grapple up, and come back down and slam on them and drop them down. That's a really cool ability. It does a lot of damage. I love that ability. So a lot of cool new stuff out of Batman and Superman. Supergirl feels completely different than her cousin, which is something refreshing to see, I think. And again, Superman plays quite similar to how he does in the original, but some new animations and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. The game's great. I'm loving the game, guys. Hope you all have enjoyed the video. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up my thoughts here. Before I ramble for too long, I will say my review of the beta overall is that I think that the gear system is something that if you're concerned about it, it's definitely a rational fear. I mean, I don't think you're being irrational in saying, like, you know, I don't really know how this thing's going to work out. At the same point, I do think that we should be patient with it. And as long as they don't add a pay component, a pay-to-win component to it, then I don't really think there's anything too much to be alarmed about. Video games have been doing this for a while. I mean, even Call of Duty Advanced Warfare had this system where you can get supply drops, and my ASM1 is better than your ASM1, or my, BAL is better than your BAL. And that's problematic in some ways. At the same point, I never had that good of gear, and I was always beating people because I was good at Call of Duty. So it's one of those things as well, like, if you're good at the game, you're still going to be good at Injustice 2, even if you don't have all the amazing gear. So anyway, guys, hope you'll have enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. I hope you'll get your beta code soon. Tequilo, I'm sorry I still haven't given you my beta code. Whenever I get it in, I'll give it to you, man. They're being stingy with these things. They don't want to swamp the servers, and that's why people have asked, like, why isn't it an open beta? You know, the servers would just get swamped. So I'm going to go ahead and play some more Injustice 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in the next one.